Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. Today we'll be talking about the network threat prevention capability that underpins web protection across a number of Jamf Security portfolio products. My name is Milind Patel. I'm a senior product manager here at Jamf, and I'm responsible for delivering endpoint security solutions to customers such as yourselves. First, let's go through what we'll cover today. If you do have any questions, though, please feel free to raise them during this session in the chat, and we'll get them covered for you. So, what are we going to be talking about? First of all, what is network threat prevention, and what sort of problems does it help you to solve? Which Jamf products and solutions will you find this technology in? How this fits together between the endpoint and the Jamf Security Cloud to deliver a seamless experience. The behind-the-scenes intelligence that powers network threat prevention. How you can set it up and deploy it to your Mac and mobile devices. Reporting. And finally, ecosystem integrations to give you that single pane of view. Let's start with what is network threat prevention. Users and devices are always connected to the internet. Often, either for work reasons or personal usage, they're connecting to a large number of known and unknown resources on the web. It can be hard to monitor for this usage, and even harder to figure out what resources are safe or acceptable for use within the work environment. Network threat prevention helps you to mitigate network-based threats, such as phishing, and also helps you to block risky content or that content which is not appropriate for use within a work environment. As usual, Jamf places a large focus on both the admin and the end-user experience. This is to ensure that admins, such as yourselves, are able to keep their devices secure and compliant, whilst allowing the user to be productive within their daily roles and responsibilities. We do this by making sure it is super simple to deploy and manage network threat prevention for the admin, and by protecting and informing the user of risky network resources in a way that is performant by using minimal resources on the endpoint. Network threat prevention consists of two key parts: web content threat prevention and web content filtering. Web content threat prevention protects your endpoints from incoming network threats, whereas web content filtering protects your users from accessing risky content that could lead to a security incident. All the while, using the native Apple and mobile frameworks to help us to deliver a capability that is lightning fast, transparent, and stays out of the way. This last point is very important to us in delivering a protected and productive end-user experience that works with both the admins and the users rather than getting in the way. Let's dig into web content threat prevention first. One of the most ubiquitous threats facing the organization today, especially on mobile, is phishing. Due to the smaller form factor, it has become increasingly easier for attackers to dupe employees into clicking on these links and harvesting their credentials. While this is a risk to the user on their own, it can also be a massive risk to the organization due to the propensity for the same credentials to be shared across multiple work or personal accounts. Compromising such accounts is often a staging area for attackers to gain further access to your systems and data. Network threat prevention also continuously scans for command and control, or C2 traffic. Where end users may not be privy to some background tasks or requests, network threat prevention can ensure that such risky communications that are originating from the device, from things like malware or risky applications, is blocked from taking control and infecting the devices further. It can also help you to protect against other risks, such as spam sites, to avoid junk traffic getting in the way of productivity, risky downloads from unvetted sources, as well as cryptojacking, which seeks to use your device's computational power to mine for crypto coins that will benefit the malicious actor. This particular threat has been on the rise over the years, alongside the gaining popularity of cryptocurrencies. Aside from wearing down your devices quicker, it can also be disruptive to your end users by using up resources and slowing the whole machine down. Web content filtering, on the other hand, helps you to tailor your policy and the end user experience across a number of categories. We have 80 plus subcategories, which are grouped into different areas such as high-risk content. This would include categories such as adult or gambling, or sites that are illegal that you don't want your end users to be accessing. Video content such as Netflix, YouTube, and Vimeo, amongst other streaming sites, and social media applications such as Facebook, Tinder, Instagram, and Snapchat. We also allow you to block new and uncategorized content. This can typically be a risk within the organization. For example, we typically see a phishing domain online for only a matter of a couple of days since creation, before the malicious actor spins it back down and creates another. This means that domains, for example, that have been around for a long time are a known quantity and therefore a lesser risk than a domain that was created maybe 5 minutes ago or 24 hours ago. Through the use of these categories, you can solve challenges around shadow IT usage within your organization. For example, are users circumventing policies by using an unvetted and unmonitored cloud storage solution? Compliance within internal organizational policies, as well as regulatory needs that you might have, as well as controlling network usage and bandwidth to optimize for productivity. Here we can see an example of a blog page from network threat prevention seen on an iPad. The user is clearly shown that an attempt to visit a particular site was blocked and why this was the case. In this example, the requested resource was classified as adult content, which the admin didn't want access from their corporate devices. So, where can you find this capability? You'll find this capability across a number of Jamf security products and solutions. First of all, we have Jamf Protect, our leading endpoint security solution for macOS devices. Jamf Threat Defense for your mobile threat defense needs. Jamf Data Policy will help you to control data usage across your organization. And finally, Jamf Safe Internet for our educational customers to help provide a safe and secure experience for your students. Let's talk about Jamf Protect on macOS a little bit more. The Jamf Protect admins amongst you might be familiar with Jamf Protect's endpoint security capabilities, from blocking malware to detecting suspicious behavioral anomalies. We're very proud to have brought network threat prevention into the fold to give you a complete solution that not only blocks risky behavior and malware from running on the endpoint, it also stops inbound risks such as command and control traffic. This capability on macOS is now GA and available for all Jamf customers today. If you're new to it and want to find out further how you can access it, please reach out to your support or account rep. Let's take a deeper look into the architecture that powers network threat prevention. Network threat prevention can be deployed through a cloud proxy or secure DNS over HTTPS, or also alongside Jamf Private Access to deliver zero-trust network access to applications while making sure the rest of the internet traffic on the device is kept secure. This is powered by multi-protocol points of presences across the world to deliver protection that is not only comprehensive, but also speedy. This means that your users can work anywhere in the world and still receive the same seamless experience as if they were in the office or in their home. Let's take a look at the planes at a high level. First of all, you have the user plane. This is the point at which the user interacts with the service. This is either through the blog page or push notifications or the Jamf Trust application. The control plane is where all of the policy evaluations occur. This plane is responsible for recognizing the requested resource, classifying it as safe or risky content, and evaluating it against your chosen policy. And this all happens within milliseconds of the users visiting a web page. Finally, the management plane allows you to deploy and manage your users and your devices, make changes to your policy, gain visibility on detected threats or risks, as well as integrate with your ecosystem products. So you might be wondering, what informs the blocks? How do we know that a particular domain or IP address is phishing or malicious traffic? First of all, we have Miriam. Miriam is a zero-day machine learning engine. Through a range of different machine learning models, we're able to detect previously unknown threats, whether they come in the form of malicious domains or IPs, or we're recognizing them as spam. Next up, we have our Jamf Threat Labs research team, comprised of leading macOS and mobile security researchers. They're continuously monitoring our customers' environments, as well as the broader threat landscape, in order to continually provide intelligence into the system. We also partner with other members of the community to provide supplementary feeds to round off some of these capabilities and intelligence that we're able to bring together for you. And finally, you also have the ability to bring your own custom threat intelligence into the fold. Whether that's because you're privy to some private sources, you have your own internal teams that are also doing research and keeping an eye out on malicious resources out on the web. You're able to pull that into the intelligence where we combine all of these four resources and sources of threat intelligence in order to provide complete protection for you and your devices. So let's go into setting up your policies and how to deploy the entire experience. First of all, we'll go through setting up your threat response policy. We make it very easy for you to tailor the experience around what your particular needs are. Firstly, you're able to select whether you want to enable the threat category in active mode or log-only mode. When it's active mode, you can employ all of the other functions around the threat policy, such as notifications, enhancing device risk, or responding to a threat with a block. If you set this to log only, what you can do is you can monitor for these threats, but without interfering with admin workflows or users through notifications. But you can rest assured that these events will be logged, where you can either view them on Radar or you can view them within your SIM if you've chosen to set that up. You're able to customize your severity. We recognize that different organizations have different needs. For one organization, there might be a greater risk within malicious traffic or phishing. Other organizations might find it a bigger risk to have cryptojacking or out-of-date operating systems. This way, we allow you to tailor the severity to your needs and ensure that the severity that is used to raise the device's risk level is befitting your organization and the experience that you want to deliver. In terms of alerts, we allow you to set up very granular options when it comes to alerting your end users as well as admins. End users can be notified the first time a threat is detected, and we want them to not access another malicious resource, or you can set the policy such that the user is notified every single time we detect the continued presence of a particular threat. For example, if the user is continuously visiting a phishing site, then we'll inform them every single time with a push notification. It's the very same for admins, where you can enable notifications to a very granular level, or you can disable them completely, depending on the experience you want for your security team and your end users. Now let's get on to setting up your block policy. Block policy is all about setting up your content filtering experiences. In order to get you started quickly and easily, we allow you to select some default rules, which will allow you to quickly set up the majority of the categories that you have in front of you. However, if you want a more customized experience, you can go into each different category and set up the blocking or notification experience that you want. For example, within adult, if you expand adult, you're able to select from a number of different adult subcategories if you want to block some, but allow others. You're also able to select which platforms you want to enable the blocking for. For example, if you have social media, you may want to allow that on your mobile devices, but not on your macOS devices. Again, you can tailor this experience based on the traffic interface as well. As an example, you may want to block your video streaming sites whilst on a cellular connection, or whilst the user is roaming in a different country to their home country. But you might want to allow video streaming if the user is connected to a hotel Wi-Fi or their home Wi-Fi. Finally, in order to help you get set up quickly, especially for bigger organizations where you might have a more complex structure with different teams, different departments, different sub-companies, you're able to set up a policy at the root level, which is the definitive policy and the base policy that you want to start with. After that, you can go into each different Leaf organizational unit in order to tailor the experiences that you want for a particular set of users, people within a particular region, or within a certain department. So after you've set that up, how do you go about continuing to tailor the experience? Especially for threat categories, you're able to set up custom blocks. Within custom threat intelligence, you're able to add your own intelligence that we spoke about previously. This is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Number one, you export your current intelligence as a CSV. And if you don't have any, this is the very first time you're visiting this page, the export button will provide you with a template that you can just add your intelligence to and get you started. Step 2, add the intelligence you have, IPs, domains, particular URLs that you want to classify within certain categories, such as malicious traffic or spam or cryptojacking, and upload that CSV to the system. And step 3, you can review all of the different intelligence that is being uploaded to the system. If we weren't able to pass any number of entries, we'll inform you of that fact and tell you what was wrong, so that you're able to update the CSV and re-upload the content. Now that we've set up policies, let's talk about deploying the service. Here we'll take you through a little demo of how to create an activation profile and deploy it to your users. Activation profiles is where it all starts. This is where you define the capabilities you want to deploy to your end users' devices, but also the way in which you want to do that. So we'll create a simple network threat prevention activation profile. In order to use both sets of capabilities, you'll need to select threat defense and data policy, which powers both the web threat prevention as well as the content filtering side of the solution. You're also able to deploy this alongside private access for a seamless unified experience through which you can have secured access to your enterprise and SaaS applications whilst making sure the rest of the internet traffic is kept secured. You can do this either through Cloud Proxy or Secure DNS. For this example for macOS, we'll take the Secure DNS option, which uses DNS over HTTPS in order to provide this protection to all of the supported platforms you see below. On the next slide, what we'll see is a few different options to enroll your users and devices. If you're using an IDP and want to use those mappings in order to put your different users and devices into different groups, you can do that. Alternatively, you can use the option to just use anonymized identifiers in order to get set up quickly, or if you're keen to not collect any user data. On this section, we'll see various different controls on mobile devices, such as collecting location, if you're wanting to block access to certain resources when the user is roaming. But more importantly, you're able to enable the trusted HTTPS block page. This means that even if a user is blocked on HTTPS content, they're able to be forwarded to a block page telling them why they were blocked and what resource was being blocked when the block occurred. Finally, on this slide, we'll see a review of all of the options that we've selected, including the platforms that are supported with this activation profile, the capabilities we're looking to deliver, in this case, web content threat prevention and web content filtering, the means through which we're going to deploy this, secure DNS, as well as the advanced options that we selected earlier. Now, all we need to do is save and create this activation profile. Once we've saved and created the activation profile, you'll begin to receive documentation as well as configuration profiles allowing you to deploy the solution. You have two options. The first is open enrollment, where you can simply create a shareable link and share that with your users. If you're going for an agent-based deployment, you can use the shareable link via the Jamf Trust application and allow your users to deploy quickly and easily. If you're going to do a UEM deployment, for example, with macOS devices, you can go to one of the supported UEMs, such as Jamf Pro, go into macOS devices where you'll see the specific instructions for macOS and deploying this configuration profile via Jamf Pro. All you have to do is download this profile, follow the steps, and deploy it to your endpoints. Finally, we'll click Save and create an exit out of the activation profile creation window. We've created this UX so it can be very easy for you to get started, even if you have no previous experience with these technologies or with Radar, a console which we use to set everything up. But if you do need any further help, please check out the Get Started with Network Threat Prevention in just 20 minutes lab, which is being run at JNUC 2022, which will help you get started and deploying the network threat prevention capability to your devices, as it says, in just under 20 minutes. Now, let's take a look at the reporting you have available for you within network threat prevention. The first report I wanted to take you through was ThreatView. ThreatView is where you can see all of your threat detection alerts within your device estate. These are split into two sections: open threats, where we've been able to detect the presence of a threat, and secured threats, where we were able to block certain threats for you. Open threats will typically require further investigation from you because there is the presence of a malicious application or there is a vulnerable operating system that needs to be patched. Within this, you're also able to click on Manage Policy for a particular detection of a threat, such as phishing, in order to manage the policy. An example that you hear of you using Manage Policy is to set up exceptions and ignores. For example, if we've detected a phishing training site which you want to allow for, you can go into Manage Policy and choose to ignore a particular resource, especially if you're using it for phishing training or you've detected it to be just a simple security research site. The next report I wanted to take you through was the Sites and Apps report. The Sites and Apps report gives you a comprehensive view of all of the web traffic that is seen within your devices. If you look at the left-hand side, we can see various different filtering options, which allows you to pinpoint some specific traffic that you're after, whether it's based on time, based on usage, based on particular platforms, or based on the network interface. You have a handy chart here showing you usage by the hour across the entire day, which helps you understand where your users are when your users are most accessing data. So you can tailor your network bandwidth to optimize for that. And we have the top 5 transactions that are seen across the board. This helps you quickly and easily understand if these are transactions you want to occur within your organization, or you want to set up some policies in order to allow or deny access to these. Finally, if we go into the breakdown, you can see a breakdown of all of the different applications and websites that are being accessed by your users. Within this chart, you're able to see the number of transactions, the classification of the particular resources, which one of these were blocked, how many users are trying to access these sites across how many devices. The final report I wanted to take you through was the Miriam Analytics report. This report serves 2 purposes. The first is that it's educational and helps inform on how Miriam is detecting certain threats, such as our zero-day phishing detections. But it also provides you with helpful intelligence, which you can use across your other solutions that you may have. On the left-hand side, we can see how Miriam is detecting zero-day phishing detections through a range of factors such as domain entropy, suspicious keywords being used within the domain, suspicious TLDs, and also suspicious subdomains. On the right-hand side, you can see a list of different URLs that are being detected. Now, these are URLs and domains that haven't been encountered within your device estate, but that we found on the broader internet that you should be looking to block. On the right-hand side of that, we also show you the phishing score, which helps you understand the confidence level we have when classifying these URLs and domains as phishing. Now let's look at how you can integrate this intelligence and this visibility with your SIEM or some other third-party ecosystem solution. We have 2 options for you here. The first is the network traffic stream. Now, the network traffic stream contains all web traffic data that we've been able to collect and forward that to your SIEM or other solution so you can power use cases such as threat hunting, where you're able to retroactively look at compromised devices. Or you can use that to track cloud app usage or other application usage within your device estate. Again, to power use cases such as shadow IT and for compliance reasons. The other option is the threat event stream. Now, the threat event stream is a bit more focused. The threat event stream only contains detection events that we've seen within the Jamf platform. So if we see a malicious network traffic event or a phishing event or a spam event, we will raise that as a detection event and forward that to your SIEM platform. So you're able to collect this information in order to power your SecOps workflows, or you're able to correlate this event data with some of your other intelligence and other event data in order to uncover more sophisticated attacks or correlations across different users. Again, setting this up is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, you need to just inform us where you want us to send the data. Step 2, you have to test the configuration in order to make sure that the Jamf system is able to correctly connect with your third-party system. And step 3, you need to enable the integration so that we're able to send all of your events in real time. Anytime now, if an end user or some background activity visits a particular risky site or domain, that event will be sent in real time with all of the relevant metadata that you see within the radar reporting to your SIEM system. So you're able to investigate within that as your single pane of view. A sum of all of the transactions and the amount of gigabytes or traffic they account for, whether it's going to, again, particular resources that you want or do not want, or it's originating from particular users. Here, you can also keep an eye out on certain anomalies. For example, is a user accessing certain content when they shouldn't be? At 2 a.m. On a weekday, if a particular user is seen uploading large quantities of data to a third-party solution that you don't monitor, that could point to a risk where you may want to take some further action on that particular point. Finally, let's review everything we've talked about today and how you can make use of network threat prevention within your device estate. First of all, you want to deploy comprehensive network threat prevention to your Mac and mobile fleet, again, to power use cases around web content threat prevention or web content filtering. You want to set up block policies per your organization's risk tolerance, as well as any compliance needs that you may have. You want to enhance the easy out-of-the-box experience with custom rules. Now, this isn't a necessity, but it allows you to tailor the experience to meet your particular organization's needs. Finally, you can integrate with your SIEM solution or any other third-party solution that you may be using, whether that's your security team or your IT team that's used to using a particular console which they have experience in. This helps provide you with maximum visibility into the value that Jamf Security Solutions are providing, but also to uncover any further anomalies which are specific to your organization. Again, thank you for listening today. Appreciate all of your time. If you do have any questions, please feel free to continue asking. Otherwise, I hope you have a great JNUC. Thank you.